Yo, what's up? It's the Game Changer. I'm back with another full-length HD tutorial on how to do a highball taper on over curly or coarse hair. I'll also be filling this video with a lot of tips or tricks that I may use as usual just to help out. So let's get right into it. As you can see, I'm using my Andes Super ZR, a very nice new clipper that I use. I just purchased them. They're not too expensive. No, you can get it for $200 or less. I'll do a review on those later, but I'm also using, as you can see, I'm using my 1.5 ceramic blade, which is supposed to give a nice, more smoother texture cut. I have no complaints, so I like the blade. I'm using my comb instead of my brush to lay the hair down, because usually when you use the comb, it helps space the hair out rather than with the brush. It actually can clump the hair together, which can cause gaps or spacings and give a less smoother cut. I'll be using my Andes GTX trimmer to make my line indentions for my ball taper. Usually when I make a high ball taper, I usually take the curves away. It gives a nice flush, smooth look. It makes the fade burst out. It makes the fade louder. It makes it more dramatic. So if you do it correctly, it'll be very smooth. So as you can see, I balled the back and each side. I always put a line in. For me, a line, it makes it very symmetric, very smooth. I never have difficulty putting the line in, getting the line out, because my rule is whatever you put it in with, you take it out with. Okay, so after I ball to each side, I'll go back and just clean up and get as much stubble off as I can with the clippers. Then at the end of the cut or during the cut, I'll go back and clean it all the way up with my Walls shaver. So you can just watch me do that, and I'll come back and explain the fading for you soon. So after I balled all sides with the fader B, I'm going to come back with my Andes Masters Black Edition to add a secondary line. So after I add that secondary line, I'll go ahead and thin the area out. The reason why I use the Masters on this section personally is because it has a longer comb and I can do more fading without a guard. And when I'll take that bottom line out where I balled it with my edgers, I'll take that out with the Walls seam, because it's zero gapped out and I like the power of that motor. So as you can see now, I'm just thinning it out here. Now, like I previously stated, I'm about to take that bottom line out, or the primary line out, with my seniors all the way closed. You want to make sure you lightly fade so you don't add another line. You don't want to make your job harder, so you just tap it, knock it out. Whatever you can't get with those, you don't want to irritate the skin, because later we're going to come back with the borders and the edges again anyway. So after I reduce this primary line, I'm going to add the 1.5 to remove bulk, as you're going to see soon. So now I'm just going to take that out. So like I said, I have my 1.5 on my walls. I'm just thinning the area. I'm not really taking hair off. I'm just thinning it. So after I finish thinning it with my wall seniors and the 1.5, I'm going to just come back with my Black Masters. I'm going to just finish that transition of the fade. No guard required. I'm going to, as you notice, I stretch the skin quite a bit. You manipulate the skin or the scalp so that you can fade as necessary. Like I said, the reason why I love to fade with the Masters is because it has such a long comb that there is no guard at times necessary even to fade. You can use so many different fading techniques. You can lay the clipper flat or flush to the scalp so that you can fade or take more off, or you can just use the comb and not lay it flat to the scalp and take less hair off. I also love to use the corner of the clipper because I can fade smaller areas, and I can use the back of the clipper, the back of the comb, to fade areas that are less dense where I can barely fit in if I had to use my whole blade. Another technique that you're about to witness me use is fading with the hair. So along with knocking very minimal to some of the hair off, it also lays the hair down as I fade. I'm about to do it here in a second. I'm just going to fade along with the grain of the hair. Whichever way the hair goes, I'm going to go. And I usually do that in the thicker area. See right there, I knock small amounts of hair off, but it also lays the hair down smooth and flush. So once I complete that side of the fade, I move to the back. The same process or principles apply. I use my Black Masters to put the secondary line in. I'm going to come back with my walls seniors to take that bottom line out. Now, the back of the hair usually in most heads grows in different ways. So whichever way the hair goes, I fade against that process. I can fade against the grain of that. So as you see, I'm just, I'll probably start out by trying to knock some of it out with my masters just because I have them in my hand. But then I'm going to ultimately pick up the seniors and just knock that line out, as you can see. Like I said, this is a process for a fading where I lay the clipper flush to the scalp to take more hair off. I don't go up too high so I don't add another line, but I just lay it flat to the scalp. I do the same process over again. So 2 different techniques that I'll explain that you'll see me doing in the back that I didn't do in the front. We're fading with like a tiger claw type of fade. It's basically like another way of thinning the hair out. So I just put the guard on, as you can see, and go with the hair. It's like a tiger claw, it's laying it down. And I'm using the one guard. That was the other technique. I didn't use the one guard on the senior. So instead of using the masters all the way open, I just use the seniors with the guard. So I'll come back with the tiger claw technique with the masters, no guard. It just smooths it out and thins the hair. It's just another way of removing bulk or making the transition fade smoother. So I just wanted to add that because I know I wanted to explain to you guys. I'm pretty sure you were going to ask, what is he doing? So just thought I would tell you. So, as we move over here to the other side of the fade, I'm just going to sit back and let you guys watch me fade. I didn't end up talking about the other side, so just watch me do my fluid movements and you can watch from there. Oh, well, you know what? I have to talk because I'm noticing I'm doing something different. I'm not really using the seams as much on the side. I'm doing like a notching type of technique, as you can see. I'm moving my whole wrist with the clipper so that way I can take less hair off but give a longer fade. Remember this technique I told you, I'm going with the scalp, with the hair. So I knocked some of that bulk out. It's so many different fading techniques. I'm going to do a full video on it, but you see I move my wrist with it so that way I can take hair off but not as much. I'm also going to use my 1/16 guard on this side to alleviate me using the seniors. The 1/16 guard on the masters is the equivalent to the 1/8 guard for me, or the 1 guard on the seniors. And so that you can see a multiple range of fading techniques, on this side I'll just use the masters the whole way through. So just watch how I use the clipper, play with it. If you have any questions about any techniques or anything you see me do, just point out the minute or the second that you saw it in the comments, and I'll be sure to comment and let you know what I use and what I do. Like I said, there's so many different techniques to fading. That's what makes cutting hair an art, because you can do so many different things with the same outcome. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be sure to try to get back with you, or get back with you for sure, in a timely manner. So after I fade each side, I'll go back with my walls balder or shaver, electric shaver, and just clean up each side. It's all about neatness, cleanliness, and the finish. Now it's time for the most intricate part, the edge up. I'll be using Elegant Shave Gel as an additive for my razor. I'm going straight into it with the razor because that's what I'm most comfortable with. Sometimes I use the edges to do like a guideline, but usually I'm going straight into it with the razor. As you can tell, I'm pulling the scalp back. I'm stretching the scalp so that I can get a nice smooth cut. When you stretch the scalp, the razor glides more smoothly when I cut and butter with a knife. So I start in the middle most of the time so I can get a good guideline. The most important part about the edge up is to try not to take the edge up too far back. Now let's be honest, maybe 1% of people edge up grows perfectly. Forget that, maybe 0.5% of people. So you're always going to take a little bit back, but you never want to be excessive. That's where flaws come into play. You know, I try to stick to a nice 90-degree angle on the sides. Anything between 90 and maybe 75, depending on how the head is shaped. But you can never really go wrong with 90. So as you can see, so basically everything else is self-explanatory. I stretch the scalp. You want to have a nice sturdy razor. For me, the best razor has a heavy head and a heavy handle. But mainly a heavy head, so that way that razor can press down the scalp. You want to be able to apply as minimal pressure as possible because you don't want to irritate the scalp. Now, when you edge up with just the razor, it's going to be repetition because the hair curls up and hair runs. So that's why I use my brush to brush those hairs back over, and the gel helps it lay down also. So everything else, I'm just going to let you watch, and if I see anything that I need to point out, I'll point it out. But the key point, I stretch the scalp, and I try to stay as natural as possible, along with creating a perfect 90-degree sharp box edge. So after I get a good general edge up, I go back with my edgers to get some of those hairs that curl over and ran from the razor. That's one thing the edgers are good at because they're motorized and they're electric. You can get those hairs that run. So I'm going to do that, then I'm going to go back with my razor. Like I said, the edge up is repetition. As long as you don't irritate the scalp and push it back continuously, you can do it as many times as you need to get it perfect. I don't like to rush my cuts. The average time I spend on a cut is 35 to 40 minutes. But it's quality over quantity anytime. They come back for perfection, or they come back for hard precision more than anything. So I check my work. I check to make sure it's boxed and even. Depending on how the hair grows, I usually try to line it up with the last third quarter of the eyebrow. That's a nice general way of lining it up or using a guide. Like I said, the edge up is tricky because all hairs grow differently. You just want to make sure it looks natural and not forced. Don't go creating stuff that wasn't there. That means you're pushing it too far back. Now on this part, I have a separate video on how to apply the Barber Magic Pencil, so I'm not going to go too in detail on it. You can check it out. It's my page where I go more into depth, or you can see me do it. But it's a nice enhancer for the edge up. It's not something that lasts, for the whole cut. It's just usually for that night or the next day. Like I said, it's not needed, but it very well helps. It makes it look even better. It makes it pop. Now it's time to separate the perfectionists from the barbers. After I spray the sheen on to give it a nice luster or nice shine, I'm going to come back with my masters, or you can use your walls, to get all those last roach legs. Basically those hairs that stand up, that don't lay down with the cut. It's all about perfection. So you smooth it over. You get the whole head. You get every hair that you can get. So after you come back with your clipper, after you go with your clipper, you can come back with your shears. Knock those hairs down. Follow, and just follow it smooth. You can lay your pinky on it and follow that pinky as a guideline so that you don't gap the hair. But clean all of that up. It's all about perfection and precision. That's all I really have to offer today. I really hope I helped you learn something. I hope you gained something from this video. Please like and subscribe to the video. Share it if you want. I want to spread the knowledge. Like I said, if you have any questions, I'm here. And like I said, I appreciate you. Thank you.